So I have wanted to record this vlog since before I even got pregnant. I've been keeping track this whole time of the things that we've been doing while we've been trying to conceive, in hopes that when we do get a positive, I can share that and what we've done and hopefully help others that are trying to conceive as well. It took us 5 cycles to finally conceive. And I just want to share some of the things that we did that whole time, some of the things that we did differently the month that we conceived, and then a couple tips that I have. Let's just start. The first thing that I did was I got off birth control. Obviously, you want to stop birth control before you start trying to conceive. And for me, I just wanted to get off of it a little bit early and get my hormones and my periods back to being regular. So I stopped taking birth control about 4 months before we started trying. And I was on birth control for about 14 years. So I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I didn't know if I even had regular periods. I didn't know if I ovulated. So that's obviously step 1. Step 2, second thing that we did right away was I downloaded the Glow app, and let me show you what that looks like. There's a bunch of apps for it, but I really loved the Glow app, and it basically helps keep track of your periods, how long your cycles are, and it gives you its best guess on when you're ovulating. That's kind of based around how many days your cycle is. So it's a good way to start. It's a good place to start. And for me, I just wanted to make sure that I was having periods every month that were somewhat regular. Luckily for me, after I got off birth control, my periods were very regular. So the third thing that we did, which I highly, highly recommend, I honestly don't think we could have gotten pregnant without it, are the Clear Blue digital ovulation tests. I will take a little shot and I'll show you what I have. But those are amazing. Basically, they read your estrogen and your LH hormone, which is the hormone that rises in your body before you ovulate. So it kind of starts to tell you where you're at. You go from low to high to peak, and when you're at the peak, that's like your high fertility, and then it goes back down. So those are huge. I do know, and I have tried the cheap strips, the ovulation strips that you can get on like Amazon. I did try those. I didn't really care for those, honestly, because you basically have to watch as the line gets darker and darker and darker, and you don't really know, like, is this the darkest that it gets? Will it get darker? Did I ovulate today? Is it tomorrow? Was it yesterday? And it's way too much confusion. And I've seen girls on the Facebook forum that I'm part of post like their line progression, and they have no clue when they ovulated. And to me, that's just way too stressful. I would rather a digital just tell me low, high, or peak. It's just easier to me. That's my recommendation. That's what I used. And that definitely helped us get pregnant. I knew, and the thing is that had I have only gone off of my app, I would have missed my ovulation days, because the app predicts that your ovulation is roughly around cycle day 14. But I have longer cycles. So I actually ovulate between day 16 and day 18. So I'm glad that I have those strips, or I'm glad that I have those tests to tell me if I've ovulated and when I've ovulated. So it just makes timing that much easier. All right, so the fourth thing that I did, which my doctor and a few friends had recommended, that you start taking folic acid before you start trying to conceive. So I've heard a little bit about folic acid. I am not a doctor, so I don't know like everything about it, but I do know that it helps aid with the pregnancy. It helps the baby grow. It eliminates any like birth defects or certain things. So my doctor, multiple doctors had actually said to start taking folic acid before you start trying to conceive. So I started taking folic acid around cycle 3. cycles 1 through 3, that's kind of all we did. And around cycle 4, I finally started to do some research, and I learned a lot from the Trying to Conceive forum that I was part of. I found a ton of resources and tips from people and different things that other women had used. Hopefully some of the information that I give can benefit you and help in any way it helped me, so maybe it can do the same for you. Starting in cycle 4, we both started taking maca root. You can research that. It's a supplement. It's just a pill, a supplement that you take. Basically, maca root helps with fertility, sperm mobility, sex drive, things like that. It just really aids in making a baby. I heard a lot of good things about it. A ton of women had used it, them and their husbands had used it, and it worked for them. So both my husband and I started taking that at the very beginning of cycle 4. We also started using pre-seed. So basically pre-seed is a fertility friendly lube, and it basically helps the sperm get to where it needs to be. And for me, if anything that helps that sperm get to the egg and fertilize, I will do. Just help that little guy get to where it needs to go. And I had heard that a ton of people who swore by it and started using pre-seed, and they got pregnant. So we tried that. In the 4th cycle that we tried it, we did it every day of our fertile week. In the month that we got pregnant, cycle 5, I actually only used it once. So I don't know if it helped. I have no idea, but we did it. We tried. Pre-seed you can get online, Amazon, Target, whatever. They have it there. Number 7. I know this is just an old wives' tale, but after we got done having sex, I would put my legs up and stick a pillow under the bottom of my lower back and just keep my uterus kind of tilted and left my legs kind of up in the air for up against a wall or something for about 10 minutes. I've heard people say things about this. I have no clue if it's accurate or not. I've also heard that it doesn't matter. You could stand up right after sex and you could still get pregnant. So it's one of those things that I don't know whether it helps or not, but why not? What does it hurt to sit for 10 minutes after sex and keep your legs up? So we did that every time, cycle 4 and cycle 5. So that is something that we did starting in cycle 4. All right, this one is big. I know not everybody is religious or believes in God, and to each their own, and that's completely fine. But for us, prayer was huge. We prayed every morning and every night for this baby to conceive and just to be healthy and to make all the right decisions that would bring us to this, to having a baby. And it helped me a ton, just even after getting negative pregnancy tests, because I just had this peace and this calmness knowing that God would bring a baby into our lives whenever the time was right. And it just helped a lot. And I just had this trust in knowing that God would bring a baby into our lives when He felt like it was right, and that could be a month, that could be a year. I mean, it could be never, and hopefully that wasn't the case, and granted it wasn't, but prayer for us was huge. So we really did that around cycle 3, but really did it daily, twice a day. So that's the direction that we went, and God bless us with a baby, and that's amazing. And I understand that people pray for a baby every day, and it takes them years, and I totally understand that. But the one thing I have learned is it's completely in God's time, and I'll kind of explain that when I get to the end about certain things that have happened. It just goes to show that it's completely up to God, really. Okay, so number 9. These are the things that we did specifically in the month we conceived. So cycle 5, the last month that we tried, we didn't do in previous months. So these are the things we did differently. Another thing I started to do was I started to have apple cider vinegar in the mornings with my green tea. Obviously, apple cider vinegar is great for a lot of health benefits and health reasons, but I had heard something about apple cider vinegar and pregnancy and it helping with that. No idea if that's true, but it's good for you anyways, so why not? So a few times a week, I would say 4 to 5 times a week, I had apple cider vinegar with my tea in the mornings. Again, no clue if that helped, but it is something that we did differently in cycle 5 than we did any of the previous months. The other thing that we did when the month we got pregnant is I had heard from a fertility specialist that if you've had some difficulty in getting pregnant and you typically work out, that to take your 2-week wait off from intensive workouts. So typically I work out 4 to 5 days a week. I run, I do weights, all of that. And so I didn't know if that could change anything or help anything, but that's what she said. So during my 2-week wait, I did not do any intense workouts. I basically did light dumbbell workouts and would walk instead of run. So it was a little bit difficult to do and try to stay healthy, but hey, if it's 2 weeks and if it helps implantation, then I'm all for that. If you work out pretty regularly and it's pretty intense, maybe try taking the 2-week wait off, Okay, so the last thing that we did, there is a method called Sperm Meets the Egg. Sperm Meets the Egg plan. And you can Google it. There's a ton of information on it. Basically what it is you have sex every other day after you end your period. And once you get a positive ovulation test, then you have sex 3 days in a row, take a day off, and have sex again. That basically ensures that no matter what, you have sperm waiting there for your egg to fertilize, and it gives you basically the best opportunity to get the timing right. Google it if you're interested in it. I actually completely recommend doing that. There's a ton of girls that were in my group that did that same plan and also got pregnant. So I've heard good things about it, so I figured we would give it a try. One thing I will say is we didn't complete it. We did it every other day, but when the ovulation, we did it the day before ovulation, and then that was it. So we actually didn't end up completing it the full amount of days. So to be honest, I was worried. I thought for sure we were not getting pregnant. I was like, we didn't have sex enough, and we didn't complete the plan, but we did do it the day before it ovulated, which is supposed to be the highest chance of pregnancy. So whatever we did, it worked. But I definitely recommend doing that plan. Look into it, definitely. Sperm Meets the Egg plan. Google it. You'll find a lot of information. All right, guys. Hi. My memory card is filling up. My battery is dying. I'm not prepared. But I just want to finish up a couple things. I want to say a couple tips. I've recorded this 3 times and it hasn't been recording. So I'm going to make this short and sweet. I understand that everybody is different. Some things work for people, some things don't. This is just my personal experience. If it can help you, then that's amazing. And hopefully it gives you a little bit of information and help along the way. Trying to conceive is not easy, so I definitely recommend, staying as positive as you can, not being afraid of the unknown and how long it could take. Definitely trusting in God if you're a believer. Definitely just being fearless and faithful. That's like my biggest tip. People always say to try to relax, and if you are trying to conceive, you have probably heard somebody say, just relax, or stop trying and that's when it'll happen, or just stop stressing and you'll get pregnant, and you're just sitting there thinking, it's just frustrating to hear that. And I get it, people mean well, but not everybody can just stop trying or stop stressing or not think about something that they really want. And for me, I feel like I'm a perfect example of that. People tell me that all the time. And ironically, the 1 month that I feel like I probably stressed the most and had the most pressure is the month I got pregnant. So some people, they probably do get pregnant when they stop stressing and stop trying. And then there's others who it doesn't really matter. And so I really am a strong believer in that it just depends and it changes for everybody. So keep that in mind. It could help you if you stop stressing, but then there's people who it doesn't really matter. And if there's one thing I've learned in all of this, everybody's different, and Sure, you can do things to help get the sperm to where it needs to go, but at the end of the day, it's all up to God and God's timing and when it's supposed to happen. When people say things like that, it can get a little discouraging and frustrating, and I'm perfect proof that you don't always have to not try to get pregnant or not stress or think about it to get pregnant, because I definitely thought about it. I was definitely putting a little bit more pressure on us than normal, and we got pregnant. If there was ever a time that I didn't think we were gonna get pregnant, it was last month. I was worried that we weren't doing it enough and that we didn't complete the plan that I had, and God blessed us with a baby, or a positive pregnancy test, and hopefully a baby. But I hope that some of this has helped you. If you have any questions or anything, obviously leave a comment below. I'm happy to help with anything and any information from my personal experience. I'm not a doctor. I don't know, everything, but just my personal experience and all the research that I've done in the past year could possibly help you. I hope that you've enjoyed this vlog, and stay tuned for the next one. Bye.